Hey guys, welcome back to my channel for an all new episode recap of today's Days of Our Lives, August 4th, 2025. So we continue off of the whole thing with Chad and Kat's disappearance, and now the family members, the loved ones are catching up to it, which didn't really take that long, so kudos to them. So Julie got up late and she realized, she doesn't hear nothing from Chad. And, she asked JJ about him, and Chad is not around. He hasn't seen Chad, and he sees that the kids are still sleeping. They're not at their camp. So something is up because Chad is not like that normally. And also, she's been calling Chad's cell phone. He's not picking up. So it's unlike him to do that. JJ also called Leo, and, Leo's saying that Chad is not even at work. So JJ asked Julie about Chad's assistant, and she said that, she's no use. So now they're wondering, like, what could really happen because, they're wondering if something bad has happened to him, right? So JJ said that he's gonna go to the station and file a report or something like that, right? So Johnny and Chanel are in the square and they're talking about Sammy's return, and you know Johnny is happy to have her here, especially what's going on with him at the trial. He knows probably she won't be attending the trial because, of things that might dredge up the past for her, and it might be hard for her to sit across from, his father representing him and all that. So, anyways, he's happy to see her and, go meet up with her, talk to her some more. So, anyways, they see Felicity. Felicity is frantic. She needs help because her sister has not, came home last night, and she's worried that something has happened. So, Chanel said maybe it's a misunderstanding, but at the same time, Felicity is saying that's not like her. So, Chanel offers to bring her to the station, and, Johnny said that, he's going to meet up with his mom, or Chanel urged him to, go meet up with his mom while she handle whatever is going on with Felicity, right? So Samantha Jean is back in town, and I guess they're focusing on her grief and her, being affected by John's loss, because remember she wasn't at the memorial or the funeral service for him. So she comes home to, give her mom some support. It turns out that she needed the support as well because it dredged up a lot of, memories for her, good and bad and indifferent. And she's just regretting how she treated John when he was alive and how she hated him for how he loved her mother. And, Sammy's disdain towards John was way back when she found her mom and John, doing their affair, and, how it hurt her actual father, Roman, badly. So she has always blamed him for everything that's gone bad in her life. It took her a while to really accept John, and she's just, sorry that she didn't, really give him the time of day from the beginning. Marlene is assuring her that, look, John is proud of you, and John has, forgave you for a lot of things, and he does not hold nothing against you. He's proud of the woman you are today. Don't worry yourself. So of course, she's sobbing, and Marlena is also sobbing, and Marlena is saying, look, like, I guess we needed that time to cry. It was definitely a nice sweet scene between the two of them. And yeah, definitely Sammy is just talking about how John has been strong for all of them in the family. And Marlena reminded her about some old baseball story that he would tell, and that would make her laugh, and that really put a smile on her face. So it was definitely a great moment between them. And Sammy's sorry that she's crying and everything, when it's really to be there for Marlena and what she's going through. I said, don't worry about it. We really needed that time to really express what's going on, right? So Marlena leaves Johnny and Sammy to talk because she has some work to do at the hospital, because Johnny arrived to, checking on his mom and everything. So they get to talking, and, Johnny's happy that she's here. And he talks about the trial and her possibly not, representing him or supporting him there because of everything that might be dredged up, as I said earlier. And she said, I'm glad your dad is representing you. He's the best to do it, and he'll definitely help you to get these charges off. And they talk about Grandpa John, and they talk about how, he would want Johnny to forgive his father despite all the bad things that EJ has done towards John. And he's just glad that he has his name, as his name, he's representing him. And she talks about how they believe that John was not alive during the time that Johnny was born, and how they named him after him. And, the fact that he was actually alive and he got to see him. And, they're thankful for the time they had to spend with him. They both had a little moment where they were grieving his loss again. It was definitely another beautiful moment between the two. I definitely enjoyed it. And, at some point she does tell him that, good luck, and, tell your dad to take care of you during the trial. He had to get ready for the trial. And then she was there with a picture of John. And, there were some flashbacks with her and John, and how John was telling her that, look, I'm proud of you and your decision to marry Lucas, because she thinks that everybody was against her and that she's not going to be good for Lucas and all that. And Kate is weaponizing everybody against her and all that. So John was the one that was different, and said that he's proud of her decision. There was also another scene where, back in the day when she said that, she asked John to protect her mom from Stefano, because Stefano was obsessed with her at the time, the Queen and the Night whole thing. And she said that, he's still around. Just promise you you're gonna protect my mom. And he said that, yes, I will. So she said, look, you've done your job. Rest easy. We on earth are gonna definitely take care of mom. And thank you for all that you have done. And I'm sorry for everything that I have really caused you, any pain that I've caused you, all the hurt that I've caused you. And that was really that with them. So Chanel and Felicity go to the police station because Johnny's also on the phone with his sergeant, trying to get a report filed out for Chad. And then they come over and they also tell him that, look, Kat is also missing. So he said it's so funny because, Chad is also missing. So Felicity is hoping that they're both found together in the same location. So they're just wondering what's going on. So JJ said that he's going to his sergeant with some information, but he would like if Felicity could remember, any clothing or anything like that Kat was wearing on the night before. What was conversation like the last time she spoke to her and all of that, right? So Chanel assured her that, look, we're going to do everything we can to find your sister. Don't worry about it, right? So at some point, they did find Chad and Kat in the elevator. No thanks to JJ or the Salem PD for that matter, because Julie did call JJ and said, look, we found the both of them in the elevator. So Chanel and Felicity go over there, right? So Marlena and Julie get to talking, and Julie's surprised to see Marlena at work. So Marlena said, it's just a brief work, and she has a meeting with Sarah, and that was it. So she said, what's up with you? Why are you here? Are you okay? So she said, yes, I am okay otherwise, but I'm worried about Chad. I have been calling him, and we can't file a missing person report. It's too early. And then I've been calling him. I'm worried that maybe his cell phone is off or it's no reception where he's at. So it's just, mind boggling to me where he could have been. So anyways, they think about the elevator, and there was a sign on the elevator that said order. So she said the last time she spoke to Chad was at the hospital, and he was there to fill a prescription for his daughter Charlotte. So she said the nurse saw him, but otherwise from that nobody else saw him. So she's thinking maybe he took the elevator. So they go over to the elevator and they start calling out for Chad. At some point, Chad hears Julie, and Chad say, I'm here. And Kat also said something. So of course Julie is upset that he's stuck there with Chad. And Marlena said, like, before that you weren't so overly worried, now you're actually worried. So she said, I really do not like this lady's hands around Chad. She's like a little lapdog everywhere she is at, and I really am not fond of her. At some point before that, she did go at the elevator and said to Kat that make sure that you're feet away from him and no hands on Abigail's husband. So Marlena checked her about it. Marlena said that, look, we all have lost a significant other, and you and I know both how that is. But remember, Chad and Abigail didn't have the long time union that we had. And even though it was devastating, it was a short tragic cut. At the end of the day, Chad deserves to move forward and, to fall in love again. She said she wants that for him, but at the same time, she doesn't think Kat is the right person for him. she doesn't think that she could be a great stepmother to the kids. She doesn't think she's right for him, period. So she's just worried about that aspect of it, right? But at the end of the day, like, the thing that I really was annoyed with Julie was that she thought that Kat orchestrated the whole elevator shutdown when Marlena had to tell her that, look, workmen said that it has been out for days. So, like, for her to blame her, like, it was going too far, right? So Chad and Kat were in the elevator, and they fell asleep, so they've been there the whole night. And Kat is recovering from a nightmare, and Chad wake up and said it's just a dream. He asked her if she wanted to talk about it, so she said not really. So at some point she did mention something briefly about when she had her accident, she had these recurring nightmares, and Felicity would be surprised by it. So that was really it. So when they did get through to somebody outside the elevator, that is Julie, and when Kat heard what Julie said, she made sure to make her feet distance away from Chad. And Chad is like, why are you over there? So she said, I don't want Julie to see us together when the elevator open and all of that. So, he said, do you think that she's gonna blame me for the elevator shutting down? So she said, maybe. So he said, Julie's a smart woman. And I'm saying, Chad, you really don't know that Julie is vindictive like that. So anyways, something happened with the elevator man come out, and he said that they're working on it and it should be out in no time because there's 2 floors down. At some point, Chanel did tell Johnny what's going on, that his uncle and Kat were stuck in the elevator together, and that the workman is supposed to get them out, right? So when they did get them out, they already hugged up together, and that is to Julie's dismay. You should have seen the look on her face. I was just laughing myself off, right? But anyways, guys, this is it for today's episode. Comment below your thoughts on today's episode. Let me know. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to my channel. I will see you guys tomorrow.